my friends, come in. Come into the light. Let us shed some light on the dark. You like my little stories? I've been asked to even expand on what you know about me. Well, a very basic thing is a man's belief system. You've heard me speak of Mother Nature, how I appreciate Mother Nature. Well, Mother Nature is actually science-based to me. I can get into it later, but it's evolution and science and molecules and the universe and gravity and these kinds of things. It's not a dogma, it's an observation. The old Northmen, they enjoyed Buddha's middle path philosophy. We find little statues of Buddha in the north, in the tombs. The Vikings knew that stuff. They knew a lot more. But religion is a personal thing. A belief system is a personal thing. The Northmen were free thinkers. They could tolerate other religions. They weren't afraid of them. On a personal level, however, I have to tell you the basis of my belief system. In my belief system, there is no supernatural. There is no God. I was not created. There's no elves. There's no magic. There's no mysticism. No magic. Everything is understandable, just like evolution. Anyhow, all these ideas started when I was 4 years old. And this is the story of why I do not have supernatural things in my life. When I was 4 years old, my parents and I moved to Toronto, a big city. My parents got a second floor flat in a house down by High Park, Bloor Street here in Toronto. The very first night came in this new house. My parents went to bed and I was put to bed on the couch in the living room. That was to be my bed, the couch. So, maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning comes and I woke up and I had to have a pee. But there was something there. There was something in the dark. Something I couldn't see. But it was there. And I knew if I moved, it would get me. Well, after a little while, I thought, I'll go into my parents' room and then they can turn on the light so I can go to the bathroom. So I went into my parents' room to be protected, safe from the thing. You know the thing, that ominous thing, that unknown thing, but you know it's there. So I went in. My father said, get this kid out of here. This kid is not sleeping in our room. This is our room. He sleeps in his own room. So I was put back on the couch. And I stayed there really still for a long time. And then I pissed myself. I couldn't hold it any longer. I pissed myself. And it felt warm. And I fell asleep. And in the morning my father came out and saw that I had pissed myself and said, what's this kid doing, pissing himself? We don't want any piss beds around this house. No piss in the bed. So the next night came. Parents go in the room. I'm back on the couch. 2 o'clock in the morning. I wake up. I'm scared. He's there. I know he's there. He's going to get me. Just like a little fawn wakes up and it knows something's there and it stays really still. I stayed still. I was scared. So I went into my parents' room. The door went into the room. The old man wakes up. Get this kid out of here. We're not having this kid in our room. Get him out. Back on the couch. A long time goes by. I'm really careful. I'm really scared because he's going to get me. You know the guy. You know the guy. We all know that guy. That supernatural guy. So, after a while, I couldn't hold it any longer. So I pissed myself, and it felt warm, and I fell asleep. In the morning, my father came out, and he's going, "What's wrong with this kid? He's pissing the bed. We don't want any piss-a-beds in this house." Bloody kid. So, the next night comes. Parents go in the room. I'm put in the bed. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up. I've got to pee really bad. But I know there's no point in going and getting protected from my father, because he's not protecting me. So I lay there. I kept my eyes closed even, so that it wouldn't see me, because if I moved my eye, he'd see me and he'd get me. You know the guy. We all know that guy. He'll get you. Well, I didn't want my father to give me hell anymore. H-E-L, hell. The cold shoulder. So, I'm there, and I'm scared. But finally I I opened up my eye. That one eye. You know, that eye, that guy had one eye. Anyhow, I look around. And after a while, I didn't see any movement. I could see the shadows from the street light and stuff, and I didn't see it. And then I realized there was nothing there. There was nothing there. There was no supernatural thing there. That guy was not there. That fear was not there. I got up, a little 4-year-old boy, went down the hall and had a piss and came back and went to bed and got up in the morning, and my dad was a happy dad. But from that point on in my life, there's never been a supernatural thing. I'm not afraid of any kind of supernatural thing. There is no magic. There's only things I can understand. Now, this is a basic part of my understanding of everything. If I can't see it, it's not there. And I don't imagine stuff. Okay? So, anyhow, that's my own little story of why I don't have a God or gods. I take care of business myself. I don't imagine these supernatural things. But I still appreciate nature and the sunshine and love and being alive and being aware that I'm alive. We're not just a stone. We're actually aware of being here. Anyhow, that's the story of my basic beliefs. So you'll have to tolerate me, because that's how I feel, and none of us ever gets to be 150 years old, no matter what you believe. Okay? So later on I'll explain a few more things, but that's why I just didn't see it. I just don't have that kind of supernatural belief in something creating me. But I'm in great wonderment of this wonderful place, this wonderful universe. Anyhow, I'm going to get off now, and I'll talk to you guys after, okay? So, have fun. Watch out it doesn't get you. Isn't that right, Buddha? Bye now. Come in, my friends. Come in. Come into the light. Let us shed a little light on things. My ancestors sometimes had wooden statues of their gods. Like this fella here, this fertility god. But beyond that, I want to tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about how my father stopped going to the Silverthorn United Church of Canada. My father liked to sing in the choir, and he went to the church on Wednesday night and they practiced. Then on Sunday they sang their hymns. He liked doing that. When I was about around 8, 9 years old, those kind of ages. Anyhow, my father had a severe operation. He had ulcers, and he had to have 7/8 of his stomach removed. That's a big operation. I never saw him for a whole month. They wouldn't let a kid in the hospital. So he had this big operation, and I didn't see him for a month. And when I did see him for the first time, his hair had turned gray. When he went in the hospital, his hair was dark as mine. As dark as mine was. Brown hair. And it had turned gray in a month. I was kind of shocked when I saw him. So he'd been through a lot. Anyhow, sometime later he told a story. I heard him tell a story. He said that he was in the hospital. He was feeling pretty bad, pretty low, pretty alone, big operation. He had a cut right from one side of his stomach to the other, right across, huge. And he said that the minister never came to see him, even though he was in rough shape. But the minister sent an elder of the church to see him, and the elder asked my father, who was not on his deathbed, but, you know, in real bad shape. The elder says to my dad that the minister, who was from Scotland, wanted to go home for a holiday and wanted my father to donate him some money so he could go home. And yet he never even came to see my father, just sent for money. Well, my father got out of the hospital and started eating custard and stuff until he could get to be have a normal diet again. But he told me that story, and he never went back to the church again because of that minister, and that greed, and just wanting money, caring nothing about his soul or whatever my father believes. Because my father does believe. He did sing in the choir. He had an organ and he used to play hymns and sing hymns. Sometimes on a Sunday, I'd hear my dad and sometimes my mother, and they'd be singing hymns. That's all my father ever sang was hymns. So that was important to him. He never said a bad thing about the church ever. He just said that story, and then he never did go to church again. Anyhow, that's a little story for you about the Silverthorn United Church and the Scotch minister and all the love that he got from the Christians. tell you a couple more stories. Bye now. Come in, my friends. Come into the light. Sometimes I wonder how many sides there is to a ball. How many opinions there is about it all. I'll tell you a little story. I'll tell you a little story about the devil. The devil and me. I was a tattooist for 23 years. And during that time I met quite a few characters. One night about 30 years ago, I was in my tattoo parlor, Studio One Tattoo. And a guy came in about 1 o'clock in the morning. He wanted to get 666 tattooed on the back of his hand. So I told him the price, and he sat down and I started to do the work. He had long hair and his eyes were kind of wild, and he had that star on his forehead with the little ram, that little star with that ram tattooed right there. And I'm working on his hand. And his face is about that far from mine. And he says to me, he says, "Do you believe in the devil?" And I stopped my work for a second and I looked up and looked him in the face and I said, "Believe in the devil? I don't even believe in God." And then I continued to work. He was fairly quiet after that. That's my opinion of the devil. That's how afraid we have to be of the devil. He left. He was happy. I had my money. He had his tattoo. If that's his belief, that's fine. I hope he had a good life. Anyhow, that's what I thought of the devil at 2 in the morning. Have a good night. Sweet dreams. You'll be okay. Hello, my friends. Welcome. Welcome to the light. My ancestors were Northmen. They sailed the great dragon ships. They settled many places, the Rus in Russia, in Sicily, in Italy, the Middle East, of course England, Normandy. Our ancestors settled all around, and they married into the people that were in whatever area they were in. My ancestors intermarry. That's why in the middle of Russia you see tribes where half the people look oriental, and the other half are blondes. I'm going to give you your freedom to sail your longship wherever you want. There are many paths, religious paths, philosophical paths, lifestyle paths. These are things that are to be followed. The truth is, though, my ancestors that sailed these ships lived a long time ago, and I am a modern Northman. I live now. As my ancestors had ways of interpreting the world through their gods, through their stories, and they're all valid. All religious stories are valid from the story point of view. Truth is that I live now, not then. And as they interpreted their world in their way, I interpret my world in my way, in this modern way. Of course, my belief is mainly science-based. Evolution, the universe, gravity. The world is round. It spins. It was not always here. It will not always be here. It's a wonderful world. But I'm just a speck in it and of relatively little importance. Now, back to the path. I'm going to give you your freedom. When you look at the forest, the unknown, take a step into it. There is no path. Take another step. And another step in life. Get an education, get a job, have a career, have a family, have a girlfriend. Don't have a family, don't have a girlfriend. Learn to fly, become a cook. These are the things that you may do. But as you step into this unknown forest, and you get farther in, and you may get lost at times, and wander, and find your direction again. But as you do that, when you stop and look around, you will see the path. You will see a path behind you. No path in front of you. The path is behind you. That is your path in life. That is your path in life. I give you the freedom to step into the unknown and to find your own path. And when you look back, it'll be there, and everything will be good. Okay, my sons, think that over. Have sweet dreams.